answering the question who benefits from the conflicts in Africa, largely, until very recently, are European countries. And let us examine the conflicts in order to convince ourselves that this is not just an allegation. We must always remember that when colonialism was brought to an end, it was not brought to an end because the colonialists wanted to leave. If it was the French, see how they left Guinea. See how they left their former colonies. They left wailing and kicking, and they designed an agenda that was going to ensure that they remained in those countries supplying arms. If it is not guns, it is bullets. If it is not bullets, it is tear gas. If it is not tear gas, it is other implements of war. It is aircrafts. And when they do that, what is the immediate benefit? Number one, no meaningful manufacturing takes place in your country. You therefore have to import.
Hello family, brothers and sisters. Do you know that conflict and wars in Africa is a multi-billion industry for other civilization? Do you know that the Western world are making a lot of money through conflict and wars in Africa? So join with me in this video where we are going to dive deep into this matter. So I brought you Professor PLO Lumumba to start our conversation. Here is what Professor has said.
Today, as we continue the conversation, we talk about war or conflicts in Africa. And let me preface my conversation with a Kiswahili saying, vita vya panzi furaha ya kunguru. That when the grasshoppers fight, it is the hawk that benefits. And that can be translated and be understood to mean that when there is a conflict, there is somebody who benefits. And whenever I look at the question of conflict, I always remember these words courtesy of history of Kwame Nkrumah. On 25th of May 1963, he told his audience, if we are not united, the former colonizer turned neo-colonizer is going to sow these seeds of discord amongst us and will continue to fight each other because fighting is in their best interest. He repeated those words in 1964 in Cairo. He repeated those words in 1965 in Accra. And in 1966, he was himself overthrown. And many are the times that we have seen conflicts being manufactured in Africa. And the manufacture of conflict in Africa is many times deliberate. It is informed by the age-old colonizers' mantra and philosophy. Keep them divided, keep them fighting, and reap their resources. So whenever we have seen conflicts, whether it is in the Democratic Republic of Congo, starting as early as it did in 1961, it was manufactured. Whether it is in Central African Republic, manufactured. Whether it is in Sudan, manufactured. Whether it is in Somalia, manufactured. And we are not saying that African countries are innocent. No. There are elements within Africa who also are used or out of political ambition or ambition for wealth also allow themselves to be utilized. Somebody once asked the question, half the fundamental question, where do you think that the Europeans sell their arms? Where do they sell their weapons? If it is in Angola, sometimes they supply arms to both sides. Even innocent countries that talk peace supply arms. The net effect, therefore, that in answering the question who benefits from the conflicts in Africa, largely, until very recently, are European countries. And let us examine the conflicts in order to convince ourselves that this is not just an allegation. We must always remember that when colonialism was brought to an end, it was not brought to an end because the colonialists wanted to leave. If it was the French, see how they left Guinea. See how they left their former colonies. They left wailing and kicking, and they designed an agenda that was going to ensure that they remained in those countries supplying arms. If it is not guns, it is bullets. If it is not bullets, it is tear gas. If it is not tear gas, it is other implements of war. It is aircrafts. And when they do that, what is the immediate benefit? Number one, no meaningful manufacturing takes place in your country. You therefore have to import. When you are in conflict, you've got to finance the conflict. And in order to finance the conflict, what do you use? You use your resources. You use your gold. You use your uranium. You use your cobalt. And you send it in its own form to these countries. Today, when you look at the conflicts and the number of players, silent or otherwise, you see that the ultimate benefits goes to those countries. They sell you the arms and get money from the arms. And they don't stop there. They also take your minerals for the cheap. And they don't stop there. Because you can't engage in agriculture, they also sell you agricultural produce. They sell you high energy biscuits. They sell you boots. They sell you military uniform. They send you high night vision equipment. They send you all the gear that you want. It is them who benefit. And if you look at many of these countries, look at the United Kingdom, look at France, look at Sweden, all these countries, and look at the amount of money that they earn from the war industry, you will recognize that they benefit in a major way. Remember also that when Africa is at war, Africa is in conflict, Africa is then disunited. And a disunited Africa is then susceptible to manipulation. She can no longer be allowed, or she cannot participate in decision-making in a manner that is in the long-term interest of Africa. Look at several sectors. And I want us to look at the sector of oil and the sale of oil on a retail, and look at the players in the African soil. If it is not Total, it is Rubis. If it is not Rubis, it used to be ExxonMobil. If it is not any one of those, it is one that is associated with them. It is ELF. So that African countries are always getting the short hand of the stick. When mines have been used by African combatants in countries such as Angola, whom do you contract to come and remove the mines? Is it African countries? No, it is not. It is European contractors and American contractors who are then invited to help in removing these mines. The net effect, therefore, is not far to seek. Conflict in Africa, war in Africa, is a major industry, perhaps the biggest industry for many countries that are involved in manufacturing of arms. And it must always be understood that many countries that are involved in this particular arrangement now have very subtle ways of selling their arms to the continent of Africa in a manner that they think will not be traceable to them. In the ongoing conflict in Sudan, ongoing to mean in this year of 2025, we have already been informed and is certified, and I think it was raised in the British Parliament, that British weapons were found in Darfur. How did they get there? Of course, you listen and hear the pro forma statement saying, we did not supply them. But they don't have to supply them. They only have to contract people who supply them. That is an old trick of ensuring that your steps are not traced. If you look at France and you look at the insurgency that is now ongoing in Chad, in Niger, in Burkina Faso, you will see the hand of France and French companies in supplying arms in those areas. If you look at the ongoing conflicts in the Democratic Republic of Congo, you'll find these arms. And what and why do they do that? They do that indeed because it is necessary for ensuring that their companies are thriving, to ensure that their industries are thriving, to ensure that they get the minerals from Africa in the ore form, and that Africa get the short hand of the stick. In a nutshell, what one is saying is that the conflicts in Africa have become a necessary ingredient for the development of different parts of the world. A Nigerian called Adekeye Adebajo has written a book which speaks to the source of this. He calls it Africa After the World War II, the Curse of Berlin. The division of Africa into these little countries which are then not viable. Not so long ago, we have seen several coup attempts in a country such as Guinea-Bissau. We cannot delink those things from its connection with Portugal. It is true that external forces do take advantage of conflicts in Africa in a manner that continues to consign Africa to the periphery economically, politically, diplomatically, and to the detriment of African unity and for the betterment of those countries. And this is why Western Europe continues to bear the mark of Cain on their forehead when it comes to these issues, because they are behind many of these conflicts in the continent of Africa.
Yes, welcome back, family, brothers and sisters. Hopefully, okay, you are doing well. You heard a lot from Professor PLO Lumumba speaking about the issue of conflict. So I would like to share a few things on the issue of conflict. Of course, I will focus on the effect. You know, if you have conflict, it means people will not go to work, and people will not go to farm, people will not go to school. So it means the nation is going to die. And this has been created purposely to make sure that Africa remain independent. Right now we have conflict in DRC. All of us, we have witnessed that 2 months ago, Donald Trump brought together presidents of Congo and Rwanda and signed peace accord or agreements to stop war in DRC. But during that signing ceremony, Donald Trump expressed and said clearly that right now American companies have access to critical minerals in Democratic Republic of Congo. And this, it means that our conflict, our wars, giving opportunity to other civilization. Let me tell you this thing. You know, while we are busy fighting each other, it means we are not going to work. Country is remaining dormant. If we are fighting each other, we are not utilizing our resources. And while we are fighting, we need resources. We need money. We need weapons. Where do we get those weapons? And those who will supply weapons, what did they get? Money, because we don't have time to work, so we don't have money. What we have only is our natural resources. So we find ourselves into the surrendering of our natural resources or of our resources. And these resources, because we are busy fighting each other, are being exported into raw forms. Instead of adding value to these resources, where employment and job opportunities can be created to our young men and women, these resources are being exported into raw form or taken into raw form, and even sometimes at low price. And sometimes we give up our mineral because we are busy fighting each other. This is the effect of conflict. Right now you see Africa, we can't feed ourselves. Do you want to tell me that the people of Africa, 1.4 billion people, we cannot grow food? We cannot feed ourselves? Why Africa we are not feeding ourselves? It's because we are busy fighting each other. We don't have a time to go to the farm. We don't have a time to think about how we can feed ourselves. Just imagine, recently, I think you witnessed, and I witnessed also, Ukraine supplied food to Malawi. And Ukraine is at war with Russia, but supplying wheat and grain to Malawi. Just imagine. And Malawi is not at war. Neighboring countries of Malawi, Zambia is not at war. Why it's Ukraine can supply food to Malawi, not Zambia, not Zimbabwe, not Ethiopia, not Tanzania, not Uganda? Why? It's because of conflict. You know, this conflict has been even affecting our minds. Conflict has given the narratives and disturb our mind to think that we Africans, we cannot do good thing. Look, we are busy fighting each other. We don't have a time to go to school. Our young men and women are not going to school. So who will build our roads? Who will build our stadiums? And that's why you see the Chinese are here. Europeans are here building stadiums, building roads. Not because Africans can't do so. It's because Africans, we have allowed this conflict to make us dependents. We are spending a lot of time fighting each other. And I don't know who has bewitched us. Who has bewitched us to start fighting each other? It's the only civilization where people are fighting each other. It is within our DNA. We hate each other and we can sit down and find solution. You know, this thing is paining me a lot. It is paining me a lot. Africa has no reason to fight each other. Look what we have. We have everything. Are we fighting for resources? No. We are not fighting for resources. We are just fighting. So our leaders, please, of course I know we have few leaders in this continent. That's the problem that we have. We have a lot of politicians, but few leaders. These politicians cannot find solutions for challenges. And that's why for 60 years, we have been talking about unity. We have been talking about United Africa, but till today, we are not attained a United Africa because of politicians. Africans, we have been designed to have politicians, not to have leaders. Leaders are being killed and assassinated and sometimes overthrown, but politicians are being praised because politicians are opportunistic. They are being working with the West. So conflict is something that is undermining our development, brothers and sisters. If we continue to embrace this division, we are going to fight, and no one will come and rescue us. So the time is now, brothers and sisters, for we young generation to not involving in fighting each other. Let us love one another. Let us see each other as brothers and sisters. You know, when you look at Africa, with the resources that we have, there's no reason for we to be poor, to be beggars. We are beggars because we are fighting each other. Instead of working together, we are fighting each other. Look what is happening in Democratic Republic of Congo. Look what is happening today, now I speak to you, in Sudan. Sudan is burning right now. Look, Somalia. And at the end of the day, Europeans, Americans are humiliating us. And by saying, you are coming from a shitty old countries. Trump has humiliated Somalians. While we know very well that US has military base in Somalia. So it is paining, brothers and sisters. And we young people, Africans of goodwill, we need to calm down and to find a way on how we can resolve these conflicts. Leaders, you know, sometimes I wonder, African leaders cannot speak without having white people. African leaders to speak, they need white people. Even today in the African Union, I saw African Union, we are going to have a summit of African Union. They have invited Antonio Guterres, a white man. African will love white men than we love ourselves. So family, brothers and sisters, let us not speak for too long. If you have something to share with us, please do so through the comment section. But it is paining. Let us, all of us, preach peace, love, and unity. Let us stop fighting each other. Africa will not be built by conflict. Africa will be built by love, hope, and respect to each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa. Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make Africa great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.